What is up, you guys? Welcome back to another edition of the podcast. Back again with the man, the myth, the legend, Chris.
Yo.
Guys, definitely regular here. And today we're going to be talking about something a little bit off the cuff here about conspiracy theories, and one that we kind of have been discussing about internet and internet speeds. My internet has been a little janky. I don't really know if it's the placement of my computer, if it's the fact that I'm not plugged into Ethernet and I'm still using Wi-Fi like a privileged person, but...
Hey. So basically this episode will be really choppy, or it's going to go really smooth?
I mean, looking at the video that's being recorded right now, people are probably like, fix your internet, plug in now.
You're sitting at McDonald's using their internet.
I know. And for those of you guys who are watching the show and probably asking yourself, like, you've got the same clothes on for the past 3 episodes. Well, we record once, multiple episodes. This is a little behind the scenes for you.
Yeah. How we do it.
Yeah. I mean, we work, so we kind of have to hit these talking points on separate occasions. Otherwise, you guys would keep getting these hour and a half long episodes. And we kind of feel that bite-size portions are a little bit easier to consume or digest. So internet, you were kind of talking about it a little bit earlier, and you had a top tier, at least for this area, right? 100 and some odd megabits per second.
Yeah, it was like 100, 115 or something like that, 125 megabytes per second from Comcast.
Yeah.
And,
is that the top that they offer? There's nobody that's giving 10, right?
No. Yeah, there was no one else. I think there's only one other company that provides internet out here by me. Yeah. So they have a hold on the market. I think they do have like higher up, like 200 or something. And then like, of course, they have like the work package. It's like 1,000 or something like that.
Whoa. I wonder if gamers get that.
Oh, I'm sure they get business accounts.
Yeah.
With their internet providers, so they get the best of the best.
So anyways, you jump down a tier. And what's
Correct.
been your experience with that?
Absolute crap. Right. So the little behind the scenes story here. We wanted to cancel our cable because we basically just watch Netflix. We find a way to watch movies.
Yeah.
And so we didn't really feel a need for TV, so we wanted to cancel cable. So we bought, and we also wanted to bring our bill down. So we also bought a piece of equipment, our own modem router combo.
Okay.
So that we can replace theirs, because they charge you $10 a month, by the way, if anyone doesn't know or read their bill. They charge you $10 a month for using their modem router. So you can get that equipment rental fee off.
And it's like a piece of junk router too.
Yeah, it's not that great. So we bought our own, replaced it, called them up and said, hey, I just want to go with internet. And it was $10 like less a month or something crazy like that to switch. So we decided to keep the cable, but we did find a new package because they had been slowly jacking up our price, or I guess our contract ran out or whatever. So we did find a whole new package. Our bill dropped a lot, like over $100. But we did have to go down a internet tier.
Yeah. And
there's definitely been you can definitely tell there is a difference when I feel like there shouldn't be. So I don't know if they put like a little mark on my account. They're like, hey, this guy was causing some trouble. He's doing his own equipment rental thing now. He got rid of all our stuff, or what? If they're throttling me. But I've definitely noticed where I used to get service, I don't get service in my house anymore. But,
yeah, and that's what I was kind of curious about when we were talking about it. Is if there's any way to even tell if a company's doing this, because I remember there was a story that came out a while back that your cable provider is offering you a certain internet speed, and they're supposed to, if you're paying for that, you should be getting that. But
right.
People were using like a second or even a third party internet speed checker, not the one that's usually recommended or the one that's the most popular.
Yeah.
And they were finding that their speeds were varying greatly from what they were being told that they were being offered. But when you use the one that the cable company tells you to use, or sometimes even a popular one that everybody uses, sometimes those show you better speeds.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of like when you go to Subway, you want a foot long, and they're not quite a foot long, that whole thing. That's kind of what it feels like.
You're like, hey, I want these 3/4 of an inch of bread.
Right.
I paid for it.
Right.
I think that they
So
would be safer if they just gave you like a 13-inch sub and just called it a foot long.
yeah, I don't know. I think that there's definitely, and I'm sure there's probably fine print that bails them out of this whole situation if they're not giving you the speeds because it's tied up for someone else or something crazy, right?
Well, because that's what I noticed when we were living in the city is whenever we would get on the internet during peak hours, quote unquote, whenever I'm home from
Oh,
work, the
yeah.
internet
Or
was,
what they consider peak hours too, right? From
yeah,
like 2 p.m. to 8 to like 10 or something, right? That's
yeah, the
it's some
internet
like
would be
crazy window.
slow.
Yeah.
So, I mean, maybe it's just peak hours right now. Maybe it's not the Wi-Fi or whatever. And we're talking like 2:30 right here. So,
On a Sunday.
on a Sunday, people just getting out of church, they
I
getting
guess, yeah.
home, and they want to consume some Netflix, some Hulu.
Right. So
So yeah, I mean, I think that that's pretty. That would be pretty shady if they were doing something like that. But when you're also talking about a company that has such a powerful foothold, if
yeah,
not a
I can't go to
monopoly,
another company.
yeah,
I couldn't jump ship. I didn't have that even have that leverage to be like, yo, give me the same package or I'm gonna roll on over to whatever.
yeah,
But they're
like
on
you
the
have with
internet.
anybody else. Like,
Yeah.
this isn't what I ordered. I'll stop eating here and I'll start going to Burger King. They got burgers too.
Yeah, right.
Here we're gonna be like, no, no, no. Take this meal free. They want to keep your service, but definitely with the cable company, yeah, it's like, well, deal with it. I mean,
Do you feel like internet should be a utility? Like it should be run by the government,
if we're
like
talking
water and
about, yeah, if we're talking about net
electricity?
neutrality,
I mean I wasn't gonna name drop, but yeah.
yeah,
Sure. Yeah, that I feel like net neutrality more is like on constraints on what you can view and stuff like that. I
no,
was more talking about like, is it a need for everyday people? Is it a daily need
I think that
like water and like
yes, our society has built a need around it, and so it should be something that isn't regulated by the internet providers, even though that's kind of tricky because they did.
right?
I can
Yeah,
understand the argument that they did lay the foundation with all the
right.
telephone lines, with all the cable and everything like that. That's their infrastructure. And now if they want to charge for a fast lane and to throttle certain things, it is their company. But at the same time, when we don't have any competition to
Yeah,
combat that, I mean, now I can see where they're coming from when they want to do that. They want to make money. But
that-
at the same time, it's like, well, what is our other option then? Because really, you've created this thing that is now such a necessity. I mean, do people just stop using the internet altogether? I don't think that's going to happen.
they can't.
Because they even wanted to start charging for, I think your homie Ajit Pai, the chairman.
My homie.
Yeah, the chairman of it's the FCC, right?
Yeah.
So Ajit Pai, chairman of the FCC, spearheading net neutrality, wanting to throttle websites and so forth. Also wanted to change the fact that, well, was it him that wanted to change it or was he the one that shot it down? I don't want to misquote, so I won't say that this is exactly what happened, but from what I was reading, they wanted to charge for data because no one's using no one's making phone calls anymore. So they wanted to tax data. Everybody's data would just go up, or the amount that they would have to pay, because since no one's using the phone for phone calls anymore, that's what was going to pay for 911 emergency services. That was going to pay for, it paid for certain things when people made phone calls. But now that they're not, these other infrastructures in place, they don't have the funding that they may need.
Right.
So they figured, we'll charge you for data then.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like they did all the hard work at the beginning, But I feel like, I don't know. I feel like a company, like the government or a company that's regulated by the government, I would be okay with them as long as they're not like throttling or constraining what I can look up and stuff like that, right? It's when they start uh, blocking websites and stuff like that that becomes a problem. So it's super hard to like walk that fine line. And plus all the internet companies like fund like so many governors, stuff like this, right? So they can't happen.
So it definitely could, because I mean they're the ones making the money. It would be exactly the same when you talk about something like water or electricity.
Right.
And saying, well, you know, there's not that many houses in this area, so you guys got to pay more for electricity than somebody else. Because this is a city, y'all are a small town, even though it's like it's the same product.
Yeah.
And the same thing when it came to throttling the internet. It would be, the examples that were given was they would look at a website, because this is all speculation. It would really be like, if it passed, it would really be up to the internet service provider itself to decide if they wanted to do this. But this is something that they could do. They could say, Netflix is super popular. Well, you need to pay us a little bit more money so that your viewers don't have a choppy experience.
Right. Or we'll throttle them.
Yeah, it would suck if they can't.
And it'll tank your company.
Yeah, if they can't watch your movies in 4K. Yeah. They can only watch it in 720p.
So if you want to be run on our service, go ahead and pay us fat $300 million or whatever, right?
Exactly.
Like,
and that's something that it's like, well, companies, they would just dictate that themselves, whatever. No, that trickles down to the consumers.
Yeah, like everyone's suffering.
Yeah, you end up paying that price. They're going to be like, oh, Netflix is going up $5 instead of $1 a month.
Yeah, can I really afford it now? You know,
you're like, do I really care about watching Friends that much? Maybe I'll just buy the DVD. And DVD sales go back up.
Right. Or even and some problems come up with, like, what if Xfinity comes out with their own streaming service, right? And they just throttle everyone else who cares, so they get paid.
Yeah. And that's something that I think Verizon was already guilty of doing when the iPhone first came out and they allowed for FaceTime. And not when the iPhone first came out, but when FaceTime first came out, and they had it on the phone, so you can now video chat. Well, Verizon had its own video chat service. So then they ended up making it to where you couldn't use FaceTime on a Verizon iPhone.
Huh.
You had to use their downloaded thing. So the phone already has it built in, but you can't use it over the network. And I think they had to go to court over that. And they ultimately found that, no, you can't do that.
You can't decide.
Yeah, you can't decide what apps or whatever can or cannot be used on your device. I think it wasn't like a fair compete kind of thing.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, cable companies, they're already doing it. There's only one you can choose from to watch television. Maybe if you're living in some areas, you might have two. But at least for me, where we are, it's only, what is it, Charter Spectrum or whatever. That's it. Yeah. Internet TV, there's nowhere else to go unless you want to get one of those ridiculous dish things hanging on your house. Unless you have one, no disrespect, but...
Let me backtrack real quick right there.
Yeah, I don't want my house looking like NASA. Okay.
You do have an NASA shirt on, though.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
It's full circle, you know. I kind of meant for this whole conversation to just kind of hit on that point. Like I was waiting for...
This episode isn't getting uploaded, by the way. they're going to lock it before it gets up.
I know. That was an episode I just went and checked the YouTubes the other day, and one of the episodes that you and I had already recorded, it was unlisted. And it's like, well, that's weird. Why isn't this public? Because it already had views.
Weird.
And then I checked it, and it's like, oh, this is unlisted. And I was like, we didn't talk about anything really weird. So
No copyright or strikes or anything like that.
No, but I've had a video get a copyright strike for a song, and it was weird because it was like,
playing in the background or?
yeah, it was like nestled in the middle somewhere, and
Huh.
someone claimed it. So that video had like almost no views. So it's like you can get no money either way.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm raking it in over here. So,
Huh.
but yeah, that's definitely something too. I'd be interested to see if somebody out there, because I think gone are the days of like serious investigative journalism. So I don't really think there's going to be somebody who's going to crack that case. People are going to be like, oh yeah, they've been throttling your internet all this time. Yeah, they've been doing all these things shady behind your back. And then they're going to be like, oh, well, Kylie Jenner's got a new lip shade that just dropped and it is hot. So, I mean,
right.
It's going to be overshadowed.
Like half of ESPN now is like social media stuff, right? So,
yeah, even the news. I mean, we're watching the news on TV and you want to hear about what's going on. And it's like, and in Hollywood news, I don't care about that.
Yeah.
I'll watch E, but they want to get those views.
Yeah.
So, I mean, nobody watches the local news as much. Unless you're like an old timer, then I think it becomes a lot more appealing. You care about things like the weather and you care about things like, I don't know.
I mean, it's just built into their habits, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That was what they did.
So, but I mean, that's been it on conspiracy with regards to cable company, internet, and it'll be interesting to see what happens. We've already had net neutrality come in the news for, what was it, a second time near the tail end of last year, potentially a third time this year. So I don't think it's a fight that's going to go away. We're already seeing in other countries. I think in Russia and definitely in China, they already have like censored internet on what you can see and what you can consume. And even if you're there in those states, I think it's illegal to have a torrent site to allow you to see the United States internet. So, I mean, we're all kind of limited with regards to, I feel, something that just should be open. No matter where you are on this planet Earth, you should be able to just see stuff if you want to search it. So we'll see where this goes. But again, thank you guys for taking the time to listen to this podcast. As always, I want to thank you to Chris for showing up and being a regular. And yeah, as always, till next time, you guys. See ya.
Sir.